Where did I put them, mate?
So what got you into astrology, Peter?
Well, it's interesting. As a child, I used to talk about the stars to my family, and I used to talk about all the animals in the sky and all the things that were in the sky. And I didn't know about astrology as I was a young child. And my auntie, who used astrology in a French language school, she had an Alliance Française in southern France. She used to talk to her. I used to talk to her about the stars, and I used to always love watching the stars and just sitting under the stars on the trampoline when I was young as a teenager, just looking at the stars, just fascinated, seeing things move as well, satellites and whatever else is up there. And then when I studied naturopathy, I'd already studied numerology. That was pretty easy to pick up. Numerology, it's self-taught there in my early 20s when I was just after I finished studying a bit of engineering. And with this naturopathy school I went to, there was an astrology school run by Maggie Kerr on the Gold Coast called Universal Astrology. And in my breaks during the naturopathy, it was right next door to the naturopathy college, and in my breaks I'd always be looking through the window and looking to see what they're doing, and got charts up on the paper, butcher's paper, and they're doing great big charts, and going, I want to be in there. It just looked really interesting. And she had a whole school of all different modalities, from shamanism to different forms of healing, and so there was different forms of esoteric healing, and the naturopathic college was next door. So I was doing both. So I was doing science and soul, so to speak. And when I finished naturopathy, I then started studying it more formally, and with Maggie, and then I would do courses with her every now and again in between work and study. And then probably about 15 years ago now, I was asked to do astrology charts, more paid astrology, and that was in health retreats. And so I started doing those, and that's where it started, and doing teachings. And so it's been going on since probably the last 15 years, doing more professional astrology, as I would call it.
And how would you see that things have evolved in those years, those 15 years?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a good question. It's, yeah, well, when we look at even the chart tonight, even relevant to the chart, like you've got Neptune in Pisces, which moved into Pisces in about 2011. So the last 14, 15 years, we've had that Neptune in Pisces, which is coming to the end of the zodiac. So Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and we start in Aries. And that's a 165-year cycle. So if you can see the Neptune's fork down there on the chart, down there on the bottom left-hand corner, like about 7 o'clock, about 7 o'clock there is
yes, I see it.
Neptune there, and right beside it is Saturn, and they're both conjunct, or they're both combined, which intensifies that energy of the Pisces. And this is what's even at the moment, is we're really in this last degrees over this next 2.5 months of these two planets in the Pisces. So there's been a real spirituality, with the spirituality coming in a lot more with that Neptune in Pisces, because it hasn't been there really at this degree where it is now for 165 years. And if you think back to at the 1800s, we had spiritual renaissance, so to speak, around the 165 years ago. You had people like Madame Blavatsky, you had other mystics and leaders that were really turning tables and doing all sorts of mediumship. You had places like Lilydale in America, I believe, as well, where a lot of the spiritualist churches and mediumship and astrology and numerology and everything started to come out in the mystery schools, and not so hidden anymore, which was starting to be this cycle. And we're completing that cycle. And it's interesting because we're moving more into the Aquarian energy now, out of the Piscean age, which is a 2,160-year cycle, so to speak, approximately. It's a bit nebulous about when that, which is a very good Neptunian word, nebulous about when the Aquarian Age actually starts and the Pisces Age finishes. But next year, these two planets, Neptune and Saturn, will be around the 20th of April, will be in Aries. And this is a whole new cycle, a 29-year cycle for Saturn, but a 165-year cycle through the zodiac with Neptune. So it's a real, I feel this time now is just a real, what I've noticed with your question, Pretty, is that to answer a long answer there is that it's quite a, I mean, there's just so much coming out now. This is what we're talking about now is becoming more mainstream. The old days of pop astrology, of just what's in the magazine or the newspaper, we're moving so much beyond that, and so many healing modalities. We're talking about land healing before with Jeff as well, and just crystal healing work, and I've worked with crystals and crystal light beds and as well for years, and just the amazing technology that is just being suppressed to some or put aside, and we're seeing even because astronomy and astrology coming together, and there's a great podcast like Stefan Burns is really he talks about the space weather quite readily on YouTube, and he's bringing in the astrology, which is amazing to see that of science and spirit coming back together again, because it's been separated for so long. And its numerology was the father of numerology was Pythagoras, and and the numbers were symbols. They had meanings, and the same as astrology. There's meanings in the symbols, and so 1 + 1 just didn't equal 2. The 1 and the 2 actually had a symbology and had a frequency and had an energy, and so everything's frequency, whether it's sound, music, numbers, these glyphs, these hieroglyphs that we use in astrology have a frequency. The planets have a frequency. We have a frequency. So it's to me, this is like reading a blueprint. Like I know all three of us have done forms of engineering of some sort. So having that understanding of physics to whatever degree, and electronics is where electricity, the planets have electricity, there's magnetism, there's so much in it, which is, I find, just fascinating. And I've always liked how things work. I always want to know how things work. When things work. Let's pull it apart and have a look.
Open them up and
put it
look
back together
inside.
again is another story. That's another thing.
Okay, so we're looking at this 165-year cycle that would have started in and around the 1860s. So
Around 1860,
quite a number. Yeah, I'm thinking of around Stephenson's rocket, the great industrial revolution, all the big machines that came to pass, the traveling of trains that they're coming in and around that time. So if that was the revolution then, what kind of shifts could we be looking at in the next 165 years, or what's this the beginning of? It's obviously the ending of certain ways and the beginning of others.
And definitely, I'm glad you mentioned that too, Pretty, because like at the moment we're in and even for us personally, this Neptune and Saturn, we're really at a time for this next 2.5 months of really finishing off these last degrees of Pisces, and letting go of things we just don't want to move forward with, because next year the planets are going to be moving a lot faster. The signs will be moving and staying permanently in key signs, and this is where we move over to Pluto, which has been in Aquarius since last November. It's been there now for a year, and the last time we had Pluto in Aquarius was in the 1700s, when we had the American Revolution and the French Revolution. So Pluto is up there on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side of the chart, and in Aquarius,
11 degrees,
1 degree, at 1 degree, It's in the 12th house for this one, and it's been a fascinating journey because it's with this one because Pluto is about power, transformation, and it's about purging. It's also the ruler of Scorpio, which is quite hidden and deep. And Pluto goes into the underworld where things are hidden and brings them up to the surface. And this is very Scorpio energy. The modern day ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. And when Pluto aspects anything on our personal chart or when it changes sign, it's very significant. And Aquarius energy is about technology, and it's even off-world technology, galactic. It's intellectual. It's also humanitarian. And this is when you've got Pluto here, which is also about power and transformation. This is power back to the people, because this sign of Aquarius is humanity. And so this is here for 20 years, basically, from 2024 November to January 2044. So this is quite a significant time, like when we had the French Revolution and they stormed the Bastille, and we had all the horrible things happened to the so-called the monarchy there in France, and bringing power back to the people. And that's when they changed things in Europe for the better for the common folk or people on the land and things like that, where it's taking the power back to the people away from authority. And this is what we're dealing with now, is where we're looking at the rising of people coming back together in even like tonight, or small groups, and the power of people coming back together to really let's transform what has been mucked up, so to speak, by powers that be, by programming, by things that have really affected the earth, our health and wellness. And so this is the start of a bigger picture, because we're moving into that 2,000 years of the Aquarian Age. And it's a bit there's a lot of talk about when that actually is, but there's greater cycles of the zodiac, which is like that are beyond just 2,000 years. You've got greater cycles that go up to 250,000 years and 26,000 years and different things. So the 2,000 years is in the 26,000 year cycle. And then you've got the great zodiac, which goes up to or greater zodiac, 250,000 years. So they're already in Aquarius. So the greater zodiac is already in Aquarius. We're down here catching up, so to speak. And so you can see it coming in. You can see the technology, how fast it's moving now, good, bad, whatever what's happening on the world with the different technology. And this is where we will see more technology speeding up, and how we use that technology is another thing as well with this Aquarian energy, because sometimes it can be all intellectual and up in the head. And it's so important for us, humanity, to stay present in the heart as well, because the technology can just we're seeing it with AI at the moment. And we've got Uranus in Gemini, and you've probably seen so much of it coming in this previous months with Uranus that spent a number of months in Gemini, which has just gone back into Taurus. Now, I'll find that on the chart for you. I'm just flowing intuitively with this. It's down on the about 5:30 on the chart there. There's a blue symbol there, looks like an antenna.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's Uranus. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. And that's been trine, which is 120 degrees to Pluto over these last few months, and it still is. And so that's also been in Gemini, which is about, and just as Uranus is about the great awakener. And it wakens things up. It awakens us up. When you ever get a Uranus transit, like a 42 years of age, they have a Uranus opposition. And Uranus has an 84-year cycle. It's like it can be a big change for people. Some people go, they're having a midlife crisis, but it's actually can be a midlife awakening, but it's put down as a crisis. People are looking back to where they've been, to where they want to move forward to. But it can be a crisis if it's hard to let go of the old and move forward and grow and evolve. And that's what this Uranian energy is about. But just coming back to that, it was in Gemini. It will go back into Gemini next April. And this is what's bringing in even more. Uranus is a communication planet, upper communication planet, more advanced type of communication, higher communication. And it's going to be fully in Gemini next year, moving forward until 2033. So we're going to see some very fast energy with these air signs, Gemini, as well as the Pluto, as well as the Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. So you've got this fire and air, which is very fast energy. It's very masculine energy. And so it's like comes April next year, it's like hold on to your hats, strap yourself in and remember to breathe and keep your feet on the ground, because it's like there is a lot of energy going to be coming in. And we're going backwards at the moment with some of these planets. Some of these planets are in retrograde, which doesn't mean the planet has a gearbox that it puts itself in reverse and goes backwards. Planets don't do that. That means that they're just slowing down compared to us on planet Earth. So they're just slowing down. They're not moving as fast, so to speak. But we're looking like we're moving faster. Retrograde motion is like if you're sitting in a train and you're moving forward, there's another train beside your footing moving forward, but that other train is going slower. But when you're sitting in the train, if you've ever been in a train, it just looks like it's going backwards. It's not going backwards, it's just going slower. And that's how the planets work when they're moving past each other in the solar system. And so, this is an exciting time, really. To me, this is a really exciting time to be on the planet. It's just a matter of being able to breathe and let go at times, because some of this energy, and we're not even talking about the solar energy and the solar maximum energy coming out of the sun at the moment, which is just off the charts, and sunspots and CMEs, and it's really, really quite powerful at the moment, and for just evolution and transformation. And I feel where our bodies are going through that too. Our bodies are changing in amongst this energy. And the other thing too I'd love to say as well, it's very easy to blame the planets for some of the things going on. You know what I mean? People go, oh, it's Mercury. Well, Mercury's been in retrograde for 3 weeks and it's moved forward now. And people always blame Mercury for a lot of things, but you just think about the rewords. It's like redo, revisit, retreat, just replay, go over some old ground, just dot your I's, cross your T's where you may have missed some, improve your communication. And it's the planets are energetic. It's like the macro and the microcosm. They're reflections of us, like we're looking at the birth chart of this full moon today. So this is like a birth chart for the full moon at 9:13 a.m. tomorrow morning here in Australia, which is 11:13 p.m. tonight in the UK where you are. So that's like a birth chart, and it's like a blueprint of the energy, like the energetic genetics of a person, so to speak. And that's where it was when you're born, but that also changes too. And that's another story called the progress chart, where everything starts to grow and progress as you grow.
All right.
You want me to bring in the UK?
Beg your pardon?
You want me to bring the UK chart in as well?
Well, the UK is exactly the same. It's just that it'll be the same planets but they'll be in different places because it's a different. They'll be in different houses, but the planets will be exactly the same. So it's just when it's 9:13 tomorrow morning here, it'll be 11:13 p.m. in the UK in London. So it moves the chart. So you can see there, you can see the moon right up the top. You'll see the crescent moon up there at 13 degrees. Yep, 13 degrees of Gemini. and that's it's like reverse in the UK for this one, and that would be if we're in this, that'd be close to midnight, so to speak, when we're looking at that in the UK.
Yeah.
So if I got the
I can see a number of 13s. Yeah.
There's a lot of
11,
13.
13 is
11, 13. So this is you've also got the sun at 13, and you've also got the horseshoes. You'll see some horseshoes, upside down horseshoes, and they're the north and south nodes. So you'll see there's a north node in Pisces and a north node in Virgo. Now they're all in
13 degrees.
13 degrees. So that is what we call a Grand Mutable Cross. They're all at exact opposition, and you got right angles, which is called squares, and you got oppositions which are like this full moon. So this is a really dynamic combination as well with this, because the Pisces Virgo axis is the health axis. It's also the spirituality axis as well with Pisces. Virgo is more dot your I's, cross your T's. It's more analytical and also detail orientated. Pisces is more nebulous. It's media, it's creativity, it's singing and dancing, but it can be escapist. So this energy is getting activated with this full moon as well. And whenever we have a full moon, the sun is in Sagittarius at the moment, so it's blasting towards the moon, 180 degrees apart, which is a direct opposition, and it's blasting the moon, which reflects back to us like a mirror tenfold in esoteric astrology. So we get not just the moon's rays, we get the sun's rays reflecting back on us on the earth. And so this amplifies the energy of the Sagittarian energy, which is quite strong in this chart, because down there where you see the sun with the circle and the dot, which is like just a circle dot, you've also got Mars and Venus right beside that. So you've got three planets there in Sagittarius, also in opposition to the moon. So you've got Mars, which is drive and energy and passion, and you've got Venus, which is self-worth and value and relationships. So you've got Mars and Venus here, a lot about relationships. And Sagittarius energy is very much about truth, as well as philosophy, beliefs. It's foreign travel. So there's a lot about foreign travel. What's happened in the airlines recently? Gemini is local travel. Sagittarius is international travel. Sagittarius is foreign relations. Gemini is local relations, more national. It's everyday sort of routines. It's commerce locally. So it's a very powerful full moon in this sense. It's also a super full moon, so it's close to the Earth. So it's going to be interesting, because this is also the communication axis through media as well, the written word, social media, TV. So it'll be very interesting to see, particularly with that mutable Grand Cross, because Pisces can also be about the media and film, and whether we can get some really good, truthful answers in media, and the truth coming out more fully in media, particularly or it'll be the cover-up, because Pisces energy can be nebulous and it can be untruths. And the Gemini energy can also be a bit foxy too, and be very stealth, so to speak, and be very quicksilverish as well. So it'd be interesting to see if we can see some real truths coming out, because this Sagittarius energy is about truth. It's also about law. And so it'd be very interesting to see if we move into, it's a bit trusting your intuition with what we hear these days, because there's so much information. Gemini is about information. There's so much. It's overwhelming sometimes. I find it overwhelming, just the amount of information. It's like, I've just got to go down the road to the rainforest walk where I live, put my feet on the earth, which I do, hug a tree, talk to the birds, remember to breathe, and have some space, because there's just so much going on energetically.
Yeah.
with people at the moment.
Okay.
I see this, and I've noticed it in the last week that this build up of this full moon. It's not just building to Christmas. I can just see the energy and feel the energy with people at times. It's very scattery, and this is what this mutable cross can do. It's mutable is completion energy. It's finishing off things and communicating things, marketing things, selling things, trading things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the global stage with airlines, tariffs and trade and international trade and communications and the media and things like that. So, yeah, watch this space. It's a good time to observe and see how this plays out.
Wow. And so I see that, I see that Venus and Mars and the Sun, they're in the 4th house. So that's for today and the birth of what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is there anything significant about it being in the 4th house?
Well, that would be, if we were looking at where that is in London, because this is going to be different in here back in Australia, is that you would call that for this because it's more universal for that area. This would be the home. This would be the country. So to me, that would be what's going on there in the UK, what's happening in the law, what's happening in the beliefs and philosophies of the people there, because the 4th house is home and family. 4th house is, and I would call this the family of origin or the country there. And what is happening with the family, what is happening with the people, the relations, the relationships, the ancestry, because this is a house of ancestry or the grandparents, the heritage, all of that sort of thing. So this will be interesting, what's going on with the communication with Venus and Mars there, that those two energies which are about relationships. So that's where I'd be looking and saying, well, what's going on internationally with England and other countries too with that Sagittarius energy.
Interesting.
And you just have to go watch GB News to see all the farmers are out in the streets because the others are not showing it.
Where's this in Great Britain?
Okay. Yeah, in London. Yeah, they're all turning up to Dowling Street, number 10 Dowling Street, isn't it? Tractors galore.
Well, if you look at the opposite of that, and this is where you can go to the opposite, where you've got the full moon, the full moon there. Yep. The moon is also can represent the people, and you've got Gemini there, which is about communication, and this is a 10th house, which is it's ruled by Capricorn and even Saturn, and this is outcomes in the world. This is society. This can also be boss, authority, top. The conventional parent, so to speak, or conditional parent, who creates the rules. So there's the people there communicating, the farmer, so to speak, about what they want to verbalize and communicate. So there's something there possibly, that Sag energy amplifying what's the truth here. I'm not sure what that's about, Jeff. Do you know what that's about in London?
Oh, no, they've come from all over the UK because of the current Labor government, who's now putting an inheritance tax on farmers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there's other taxes that are coming through. It's just making it very awkward for farmers to actually have a voice. So I have to say, and when you talk about media, it was actually Jeremy Clarkson's with his show, The Clarkson's Farm, which is now
really?
4th season. And it's actually showing the actual physical lifestyle of a farmer. And when you drive past and you see them at 1 o'clock in the morning with the lights on harvesting the fields, and you think, well, what's going on here? They're actually showing you what a farmer's life's all about, and waking up to the fact these are the people who put food on your table. And,
that's right.
And the redress that they've had to go through from people who don't want to do the hard work but want to take a role as a bureaucrat who can get a piece of paper and okay, I'm going to fine you this, or I'm going to charge you this and tax you this.
Yeah,
I mean, the farmers have just simply had enough. And Jeremy Clarkson, as a media organisation and himself, has been able to get them to vent their spleen. If you're going to look at an organ in your body,
Yes.
that's certainly bending the spleen. In fact, the British police wouldn't allow them to come into London, but the farmers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they said no. They just turned up. I mean, their farmers get up at the crack of dawn, so for them to turn up, the police weren't ready for them. So there's tractors galore. It's fantastic. That's what really happened in France, isn't it, with King Louis and
That's right. Well, they had pitchforks, didn't they?
Yeah.
And hoes. So had pitchforks and hoes, and at that time, 250 so years ago, when Pluto was in Aquarius at that time. So
off with your head. It was just like, what's the name? Blackadder. Off with your head.
Well, there is some planetary alignments. They're not in this chart, but there is a planet, and I cannot remember exactly, called Argol. There's a planet called Argol, or an asteroid Argol. I don't go right into that, but it's certainly, I know that is to do with off with their head. So it's interesting you say that, and it is in alignment with some of these planets as we speak. So I haven't gone into that too much, but it is power back to the people, and people are speaking up. And we saw that in Holland a number of years ago with the farmers as well. They really, we've seen it even here with truckies and stuff like that as well at times. We're certainly, it's people, the power back to the people, and really these unfair sort of tariffs and taxes and whatever else, inheritance tax. And that's the fourth house, Jeffrey. Fourth house is the inheritance. It's about the family. It's about that's the family of origin. That's where like the family ancestry. So it's interesting. This is coming up at this time.
Oh, a lot of them have been third, fourth, fifth generational farmers.
Yeah.
I mean, the young fella who's coloured, who's on Clarkson's farm. I mean, he hasn't gone any further than bloody 10 miles out of his location until Clarkson's London, isn't it?
Wow.
I mean, real died in the heart, local people. They got their little. If you travel around England, there you hear all the different little accents and their little phrases. It's quite a potch. Anyway, it's a delightful country. Carry on, mate. Yeah, carry on. Sorry, I got in there.
Yeah. So you've got that Grand Mutable Cross, which is really part of this chart, and that'll move on to some degree with the sun and moon moving forward. That north and south node. The north node is where we're moving towards as a collective. We all have that in our charts. In Indian or Vedic astrology, it'd be Ratu and Ketu, or the head of the dragon and tail of the dragon in different astrologies. And in different astrology, talk about that in positive and negative ways. But the north node, which is in Pisces, which is on the right-hand side of the chart with that horseshoe upside down there or upside, is where we're moving to as a collective. And we stay in those signs for about 18 months. Now, Pisces, that Pisces sign there is about your intuition and a new vision as well. And it's using the intuition more, feeling more, creativity more, visionary more. And this is what we've been so left brain, which is coming back to the Virgo, which is more left brain to some degree because it's ruled by Mercury. That doesn't mean all Virgos are left brain, but it's like there is that logic that we've been so used to using the mind instead of the intuition. And this is where we come back to pretty as well, where we were talking earlier about the goddess coming back, the feminine coming back. And this is where we're starting to bring in this balance now. And it's interesting, all these planets that we're talking about at the moment in these north and south nodes are at 13 degrees, which is there's astrology that has 13 signs, and that's been shifted. There's 13 full moons a year. It's the there's so much in that with the goddess, but it's also that it's looking at it in a bigger picture is balancing out the feminine energy again now with the masculine energy, because it's gone so far out of balance for such a long time. And we're grappling with that. We're trying to balance that, men and women. It's not about just what sex you are. It's that it's bringing in more of that balance. And this is really, it's starting to, we can get so caught up in all the mental work and all the fancy shiny things like AI and things like that. But is it bringing in our intuition? Is it bringing in our wisdom instead of just more knowledge and heartbeats? And this is where we're on that cusp. Do we go down that path where we're missing out on that heart-based, intuitive feeling aspect in our lives as well, which the indigenous people of the lands had very strongly in the Celtic religions and the different indigenous religions around the world. And this is what it can be, is also coming back, I feel strongly now, to bring in the balance. So this is an interesting time looking at this chart. The other thing, talking about more feeling and the emotions and feeling, and is it in this chart is a grand water trine as well. So those planets we spoke about earlier on, which are in Pisces also, just above that north node on the right-hand side is Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Now, if you look at the chart, in the middle of the chart, you'll see blue triangle. You'll see a blue triangle, and that is 120 degrees down to the bottom of the chart. You've got Neptune there. Looks like it's got a horn and a round circle and a cross, and that's in Scorpio. You've got Black Moon Lilith also in Scorpio right there. And this is a grand water trine up onto the left-hand side of the chart at about 10:30 is Jupiter in Cancer. So this is a grand water trine, which is bringing in a flowing, more sensitive energy here. You've got Cancer there, Jupiter in Cancer. This can be about business, can be about family. Jupiter is about expansion, so this can be really expanding things out a lot more water here with this. And we've had a lot of water here recently with rain and storms and stuff like that. And particularly with that Pisces energy over there on the right-hand side again, the Neptune and Saturn, I've always said, okay, when these two Neptune and Saturn go into Pisces for a couple of months, we're going to see a lot more water. And we have seen that recently, not just in Australia, but it's been around the globe in different places as well. And we'll see them move forward. Both of them will be moving forward, the Neptune soon, but we've got a couple more months of those, at least another 2.5 months of those in that Pisces energy. And so there's a lot more intuitiveness here. With that, where you're circling there at the moment there, Jeff, is you've got this Neptune, this Mercury and Black Moon Lilith. They're in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is like very transformational. Anyone who's got a lot of Scorpio energy, people trust. They're like make good therapists and counselors and detectives and things like that. People trust them. Like if you've ever had people just come up to you and tell you secrets and tell you this, they'll go, I've never told anyone, but I'm going to tell you, because they just feel this trust. They normally carry a lot of Scorpio energy. And so Mercury here can be it's about communication. And so this could also be that there could be truths that are brought to the surface, because Scorpio brings things out which is hidden under the bed or hidden beneath the closet, that it brings things out from the underground that is hidden. And so we may, in this energy now, it's an opportunity for people that they might want to speak up, or like I feel like I'm speaking up with this energy tonight, just speaking up, having this opportunity to speak on this platform. So this Mercury in Scorpio could be this opportunity to speak or speak truth, or to bring things up that may be hidden as well. And this could come out in the media. This could come out personally in relationships as well. Right next to, and we come back to the goddess again, or the feminine, is right next to the Mercury there. We've got Black Moon Lilith, which is feminine power. Now, that's not a planet, it's an aspect in the sky, but this is like creation and growth with this alignment, because this is also in this trine. So this can be also maturity, emotional maturity, So there could be, with these two planets, or this Black Moon, Lilith, Mercury, communication on deeper levels happening between people as well, or in a broader sense as well with others. So it's very transformational when we look at this. It can also be that this sort of energy, if it's aspecting somebody personally, it could be overwhelming too with this energy. It could be like, oh, I just feel like I'm just a mess at the moment. This is like, it could be just too much. Do you know what I mean? If somebody has a lot of water, or these are aspecting their charts, they could be overwhelmed by feeling, and it's just too much to handle. So it's really important to just remember to stay grounded at this time, particularly with the energy that's happening. It's very strong energy, particularly globally on the planet, particularly with the galactic energy that's occurring. That's also, and that's not always spoken about astrologically, but we're astronomy-wise, we have this solar maximum, which is really bringing in a lot of energy for us as well, which we could look into that more. In the chart, is looking at the sun and the Sagittarius and the sun there of the expansion. So it's a really strong time, and that water could certainly, and it's also flowing energy, creative energy, intuitive energy as well with that one. So it's certainly an interesting lineup of these Grand Cross, these oppositions, the Mars and the Sun and Venus opposite the Moon. And so when you look at this can also be placed over your birth chart and see how does that align with a person individually. So you can do that in relationships. You can get two people's charts. You can get the planets, your birth chart. You can get this chart laid over the top of each other and do a composite chart to see what's affecting what planets, what's going on for a person. And this is what happens in astrology sessions with people, is you can look and see where are the transits, what's happening for the person, where's all the energy happening. So it can be taken to an individual level. And there's some astrologers that do a lot of global astrology as well. They look at the charts of the country. So you can go back to the chart of Australia, or the chart of England, or the chart of America, or whatever country, and see what's going on in that country. You can get the leaders and see what's happening there and see what's going on. And that's another, it's like political astrology, geographical astrology. So, yeah, there's so much in there. The chart, there's 3,000 points. So you imagine somebody coming to see and say, can you go through those 3,000 points? And I'll say, I'm not your person. There's so many aspects in astrology. And I like to try and keep it as simple as possible and make it as practical, grassroots level that it can help somebody move forward from where they are, and they can have understanding, relief, or where they've got a bit of a plan to move forward.
So do you actually overlay mum, dad, and the kids?
My family, or?
I know, you do readings where you get an overlay and you put the mum, the dad, and the kids?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I've done that with people coming in with the mother, the father, or the kids, or two partners coming in, business partners, marriage partners, business partners. Just, yeah, you can do it with a lot of things. You could do it with countries as well. You can be creative with it. I've done astrology with a stone circle up here in Kin, just up here. A lady who's got a property that I know, I used to work with in health retreats. She's got a property with stone circles, and we did work in the stone circle of the astrology, and where we used the sun and the moon, and also Pluto. The theme was power and transformation, to see how you felt being in the stone circle, and the person could choose somebody who reminded them of mum, which would be the moon, somebody who reminded them of the sun, which represented their dad, and then they represented somebody who represented power, which was Pluto. And we did it like family constellation work with the actual with the people then we placed them on the actual stones, which had the different constellations, and it was really amazing what came out of that, and how people felt and what they felt, and reflecting back. So the school I went to, they did astro drama, where people played out different voices on the chart. So there's so much creativity that you can do with it. And but so yeah, you could look at a mum and dad and a family and see you can do that compatibility chart and see, well, how are they communicating? You can see the aspects of what's difficult and what's challenging and what flows easily, why they can communicate to dad but not mum, or vice versa, or why does this child fight with that child, or these two get along well and these ones don't. So yeah, you can look at all that.
Right. What happens when you get the Brady Bunch?
Yeah, I come from a Brady Bunch, but 6 kids, but I don't know about doing a whole Brady Bunch. You could do it, but it's you could look at it individually and just see all different. You could do a couple of charts at a time. I think you could do up to about 3 or 4, but yeah, if you couldn't do up to about 6 and just overlay them. I mean,
I was probably being a bit cheeky there, but the Brady Bunch, the bloke had his kids, and then the lady had her kids, and a blended relationship.
Yeah. Well, it's still like there's different ancestral heritage, even DNA with those, but energetically, it's just be the same as like a man and woman coming together, or 2 people coming together in whatever form and looking at their charts. So it wouldn't be any different, really. It's 2 souls coming together, or 2 souls in communication, 2 souls living together, whatever. You just look at it the same and see where the planets are, like Venus and Mars. How do they relate? How does the moon and the sun relate? So you look at those sort of planets and see how do they flow, do they not flow, are they compatible, not compatible. We can see where the challenges are, where the ease flows are, and all of that as well, which is, you can do that with relationships, any sort of relationship.
So you mentioned countries. So how do you sort of peg that? I mean, do you go back to when the Indigenous people arrived in Australia, or you talk about?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, and most of the charts, like the American chart, for example, like if you're looking at America, for example, you'd look at, say, the 1770. So I think it's 1776 chart in Philadelphia, and I haven't got the time and exact dates on that. I think it was July 1776 or something. With Australia, it's the Commonwealth. We go back to, it was 1901. I'm pretty sure it was 1901. So that's the chart, and it wasn't like 1788 or 1770 when, say, Captain Cook came to Australia or sailed around Australia. The Indigenous would be harder to do when they first came to Australia, but that's the Indigenous have their own astrology. There's plenty of that symbology in their rock art. You can see Pleiades in Central Australia and Pleiades constellation in Western Australia. But you can just do whenever there is a certain date, and if there's something changed in that country, you can look at that date as well with the actual country. And that's like a birth chart for it.
So when the Dutch came here and called Australia New Holland, is that a new date that you can work on, or
you could? Dirk Hartog, was it? It came to one of the islands there in Western Australia and left a plaque there, and I believe there was probably even others before him too. I believe Portuguese as well, but that's one we do know of, is where he come to Western Australia. But that could be another one as well. But they don't use I don't see the 1771 of Captain Cook used very often. I normally see the 1901 chart done. That's what I've looked at.
Oh, yeah, right. So after World War II, when we had a lot of Mediterranean immigrants, Italians, particularly in Greeks and Scandinavian. So when a person turns up there and says, "Oh, my ancestors arrived on this particular 10-pound trip,"
10-pound pom.
Yeah, and they arrived in Fremantle or they arrived in Sydney. Do you start the chart when that member of the family or the patriarch or the matriarch arrived in Australia? Is that how would you work from there as a point of birth onto Australia?
You could look at if you've got their time and place and even date of where they were born, that is their birth time. But when you look at where they landed on that particular date, let's say it's in Fremantle in Perth or over here in Sydney, you could look at that as a new beginning point on their chart and see how that current chart is compared to, like a transit chart compared to their birth chart if you've got the details.
Right.
And you can see, well, what is like whether when a person does move to a different country, though, it does change the energies of the. You can do astrocartography where you could be born in London and then come to Australia, and you can see where the birth chart will actually go through the different lines around the world of the different planets of where they will be. And so it can be a totally different experience for that person living in Australia than it is to living in London, because they've shifted, they've moved energetically, and you can see that they could have a different experience here in Australia, or they could go to Hong Kong and have a totally different experience again, because there's different lines that travel around the world where the planets will also be evident and more prominent, and where there's sometimes even crossing of lines where there's different planetary lines crossing as well. And so you can look at a few different things there, Jeffrey, where you could look at that as a new start date on the day they arrived, and see how that aspects to their natal chart. And it might be evident there may be a planetary alignment that shows a new beginning and what that story would be as well. So you could make a birth chart for that new beginning, like a business or a new baby, or you could do that as well. So it's like a new beginning chart or a solar chart type of thing.
Right. So, question without notice: have you ever had people come to you and say, "This is my father's birth chart, and this is when my dad passed away"? Do you ever get a chart, sort of look at the two, the beginning and the end, and see how the journey ended?
I've never had anyone do that, bring the birth chart of their birth and also when they passed. I have had people who in palliative care contact me and ask me to do their timing of when they're going to die. And they're in palliative care and they haven't got long to live, and they want to know when they want to die, when they're going to die. And that's a difficult position to be in.
Yeah.
Because it's so nebulous, and so you can look at the chart. There are aspects in the chart you can say, yeah, this is a death, but it could also be a rebirth or a transformation where it's one point to another, but not necessarily a physical death. But you can see aspects in certain places in the chart where you could say, yeah, this is a possibility. I've experienced accidents myself personally where if I hadn't done something positive, I could have had an accident, and that came up in the birth chart at once. And so I had a osteo treatment. And I'll share this with you. I had an osteo treatment, and it released memory out of the cells so much that I had a flashback to when I was young and a particular accident. And I saw and felt what happened to some degree. And it was so strong, I ran out of the osteo clinic. The osteopath was running after me because he knew something had happened. He got me in the car park and grabbed me and brought me back in, settled me down. And then I went to one of my teachers and said, I don't know what happened, but this is what happened because I just released so many tears on the beach. I just collapsed on the Gold Coast. And she said, that alignment that was in your astrology chart, it was a lineup for it could have been a car accident. and I had a flashback to when I did have a car accident, and I was lying in the hospital, and I sort of come out of, I don't know, I came conscious or something as a young child, and that's what happened in the osteo treatment. She said that energy was so strong, it could have been an accident to release that. So it was an osteo treatment that released the energy that was stored in the body. For logical people, that might be hard to fathom, but I had that experience. So it was, the astrology showed that, and you could see that when somebody passes as well. But it's not something I advertise. If people started contacting me and say, "Oh, when am I going to die?" It's not something I'm going to put on a business card.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. So you intimated just there another aspect of your credentials there by being hypnosis and the quantum healing concept. So is that the next step of your movement when you go from astrology and you had that big epiphany and the big release to start investigating hypnosis and quantum healing?
Yeah, well, the quantum healing, I heard about Dolores Cannon's work it's interesting, it was 2011 actually. It was when Neptune went into Pisces, so I just realised when that was. And somebody told me about this lady that she's been on YouTube, and she's talking about past life regression, and I'd already done a few sessions like Life Between Lives, which was a 5-hour hypnosis session, did about 10 lives. I'd already done some group hypnotherapy, and I started looking at her, and I see this older lady, and it's like a grandmother figure type on TV, on the YouTube, and I'm thinking, who is this lady? And she starts talking about the new earth, and she starts talking about past lives, and I started listening to her work more so around, really started listening to her in 2015, 16. And I thought, wow, this is really different type of hypnosis. This is not just past life, go back to a past life, see who you were in Egypt 2,000 years ago or anything like that, and it's just information. Her work was showing that you can go back, forward, you can go into this life, but then when you're there, you can find out and ask questions about what's going to help heal as well. And as a naturopath and being in natural therapies, this interested me because you could use it as a therapeutic type of treatment, not just out of interest. I was Hiawatha in America and whatever, and it was more that we can find out information from this life, previous life, and I've seen people go into the future by themselves too and see events, and that can help them move forward, and that's what it's about, is going back. And so that's that. I started studying it in 2018, and Dolores had already passed then. I learned from her daughter and another lady, Susan Spooner, on the Gold Coast, Sydney actually, and did level 2, and then been doing practicing ever since and doing group work. But it's fascinating, Jeffrey, with what occurs for people, like the technique I was taught, how that can really assist. And sometimes it's amazing what people do see and experience. It certainly bends my logical mind. It's beyond just everyday linear timelines. It's like, as Dolores used to say, bend your mind into a pretzel. I feel like a bag of pretzels with some of the things that I've seen and occur, and it just doesn't make linear or logical sense. But what the main thing is that those that really get something from it and they're moving forward, that's what's really great to hear. And it's sometimes I think I've done the worst session ever, and people come back and said, "Oh, that changed my life, and that was the best thing ever." So I'm going, "Oh my God, I thought I was never going to see the person again." No, but yeah, it's amazing. So it's never, even it's out of my control sometimes of how these sort of things can move somebody forward, and just holding the space and having good intent and allowing that person to go into those places can be quite remarkable.
So the CIA haven't knocked on your door for remote viewing?
Not at the moment anyway, but I'll let you know. If you don't hear from me again, I know people have talked about stuff like that and have had different experiences, but no.
Just been flippant there.
I don't know if they've tried to take me out a few times either, but that's I've been too elusive. I'm a Gemini.
Right.
Oh, right, you said.
I noticed in one of the charts there's some empty houses. Does that have any significance? Is that somewhere where it's nice and quiet and there's nothing going on? Like we've got the second house and the sixth house for today, the birth of the
that's a good one, Pretty. When people are having their charts done, they go, oh, there's nothing in my relationship house. Oh, there's nothing in my career house. It's like, oh, what does that mean? It's like, no, you look at the sign that's on the house cusp. So, excuse me, if you're looking at the second house, second house, you'll see on the cusp there is the scales or the Libra or the Omega symbol.
Yes.
And that's the Libra. So when you're looking at the second house, that's a house ruled by Venus. It's the house of self-worth and value, very Taurian type elements, resources, how you earn your money, self-worth, value, all those nice things, creature comforts. And it's got Libra there, which is also ruled by Venus. So that would be, for this chart, that would be the area that would be the symbol, the sign we would look at is Libra. That Libra is also on the third house cusp as well. So it does move over 2 houses there. And it does have a theme there in the third house, which is the house of siblings. So if there's no planets there, you look at the cusp of the house. And if, let's say, you've got the moon traveling through there, is transiting through there, like you can see where the moon is today, then when the moon gets to Libra,
that's empty.
That would be moving down there, and the moon would be aspecting that area. Or another planet that could be like Pluto that's moving through there. Let's say it was in Libra, could be moving there. It may be in that house for 20 years. So it's having a transformational effect in that area. The moon moves signs every 2.5 days. So it moves pretty fast. It doesn't sit around in like Gemini, but Friday night into Saturday, it'll be going into Cancer. So over the weekend, it'll probably be in Cancer. So it's moving through signs pretty quickly. But other planets can be then having an effect. Uranus could be, there's a lot of involvement in that house. Saturn could be bringing in more structure or slowing things down and setting goals, or bringing in more structure into that area, making things practical. So there can be different themes and stories with each of the planets as they come through. But the Venus there is been very strongly in this house, and also the sign of Libra, the ruler of Libra, is that this amplifies that. Libra, it can be about social. It can also be about relationships. Venus is about relationships. It's about money, how you earn your money, but it also could be about your own self-worth and value of how you value yourself. If you value yourself, you can value others better. So this could be some of the themes that could come through if this was personal. But this is more, let's say, the full moon for London, so to speak. So there could be more, Libra can be about harmony in relationships. So this can be about money, this house. So there could be more harmonious communication or relationships. So are the farmers going in there with pitchforks and big forks on the front of their tractors and ramming the Parliament House and Big Ben, or are they coming in with diplomacy? That's where because Libra also rules law as well.
Yeah.
Like Sagittarius also comes into law. So that would be interesting, how negotiations, if what's been spoken there as well. So it'd be interesting to see what's
the Belgian farmers and the French farmers, they had tankers filled up with manure, liquid manure.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Gave them a great spray.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I think you could say negotiations had broken down then, and it was more like action.
Yeah,
Speaks
I
louder
could call
than
it.
words.
Yeah, I could call that another name. That one. It's coming from the country. It's certainly not not wouldn't be very pleasant.
Yeah.
Well, they do say manure it does feed the plants for
It does. Yeah, it's
yes.
nourishing.
It's very nourishing, yes.
It's nourishing, that's for sure. Yeah, it definitely feeds the plants, all right. That's nutrition for the plants.
Yep.
Indeed. Wow.
So yeah, there's a mouthful there in that astrology chart. There's a lot in it. There's also the ninth house there. That's the Noosaville chart. You can see an empty house there with the ninth house. It's got Libra there. And the other one is the first house. The first house doesn't have any planets with that chart. So you look at the cusp. You've got Aquarius. So it's Aquarius rising on the cusp, and that is also the ascendant or rising sign on the far left-hand end of that chart is Aquarius. So that would be a theme for this full moon as well. It's Aquarius can be eccentric, it can be intellectual, it can even be left of center, but it can be humanitarian too. It's about technology, scientific, off-world, galactic technology as well. That's also quite strong here. So that's not far from Pluto. It's not exactly close. It's 10 degrees away, but it's pretty close. So there's an Aquarian theme here a little bit as well. You look at what's on the house cusp there.
So can we just go through, so for people watching for the first time and looking at astrology, can we just go around the circumference here and name all these different
if you point to them there, Jeffrey, I can just say what symbol and also what sign they're in, what planet and what sign. So you've got Pluto there in Aquarius, and Pluto there in Aquarius is in the 12th house.
Yeah.
You've got Mars at 22 degrees of Sagittarius in the 11th house. Sun 13 degrees in Sagittarius in the 11th as well. You've got Venus there in Sagittarius, 5 degrees in the 10th house. You've got Black Moon Lilith there in Scorpio, 28 degrees, 10th house. You've got Mercury there in Scorpio, 22 degrees in the 10th house. And so you've got Mercury. That's the south node there in Virgo. South node in Virgo, the horseshoe shape there in Virgo. So that's the past, that one, in the 8th house. And then we come down, we have Selena there in Leo in the 7th house. This symbol just here with the cross is the part of fortune. The part of fortune is a calculation made up of the sun, the moon, and also the rising sign in Leo in the 6th house. And then we have Jupiter in Cancer in the 6th house. And we then go down to moon at 13 degrees of Gemini in the 5th house. We've got Sedna at 1 degree Gemini in the 4th house. That's a very outer planet in the Kuiper Belt object, that one. And then we have Uranus there in Taurus, 28 degrees in the 4th. And the next we have Eris, the sister of Mars, or Aries, in Eris in Aries in the 3rd house, next to Chiron in Aries in the 3rd house, right beside it, 2 degrees apart. So they're both conjunct. And we then go to Neptune. We've got Neptune there in Pisces in the 2nd house, and Saturn in Pisces in the 2nd house. And then we finish there with the North Node in Pisces in the 2nd house.
Right.
So a quick run around the chart.
Yeah, very good. Okay.
So with the full moon in Gemini, I always thought of Gemini as being divine and mortal,
Divine and
running side
mortal.
by side. Yeah, divine and mortal running side by side.
Divine and mortal running side by side, like Castor and Pollux in the sky, in the constellation. The twins. Yeah, this.
Yes.
Yeah, there is that aspect of the higher and lower self with Gemini, and yeah, there is that element. It's there is like two minds to the twins. Is like there's two hands, two arms, two lungs. That's what it rules in medical astrology. The upper mind, lower mind, or the it's the Gemini energy. You can see two sides of the coin more. It's like there's two aspects of a situation. And that's also where Sagittarius can be very pointed. It's like the pointed arrow. It can be very direct, and sometimes it's can be not. It's harder for the Sagittarius to see the other side of the coin. They've got to work harder at it. Where Gemini will see the two sides a lot easier, and sometimes that can create a bit of confusion too. Which way will I go here? That's the Gemini. Up, down, sideways, this way.
Yeah.
And that's where it's but yeah, that's certainly the moon is like when we look at a person's chart, the moon can be their soul and their PhD of where they've been before, and that's where we always look at the moon. This is more evolutionary astrology, is the past lives, the experience of the soul, what they have learnt in previous lifetimes. And you can also look at the South Node. You can look at Pluto as well, or 12th house also. And so the moon is like the soul, but it can also represent the people as well in like a full moon chart. This represents the people, and it's about communication.
Yeah.
In this chart.
So I'm looking at all that, and the title that you've given it, Super Full Moon in Gemini. And all these different aspects that are probably just a fraction of what's actually going on. Is there something in there that you could just surmise that very simply is the biggest message that you see hidden within all the complexity?
I feel it's like when I look at this chart, what stands out to me is truth.
Truth.
That's just, if I could put it in that simple word of truth. And that I bring the attention back to the sun in Sagittarius at 13 degrees and the Venus there and Mars on the other side. Truth in communication, truth in relationships, truth in law. That's where I would... It's also about what do we believe? What do we intuit? What do we trust? Do we trust ourselves and our intuition? Do we trust what we hear is truth? And so there's other aspects that can also bring in that intuitive element too. But to me, it's when I look at that chart, I look at it with that Sagittarius energy. I'd say truth.
Wow.
That would be where I would leave it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it begs the question from me, what is truth?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's
a very good question, is what is truth and what is your truth and someone else's truth?
Yeah.
It's
is it an individual? Yeah.
Yeah. It's but there, what is truth for an individual? What is what do they feel is true, not what they're told is true? I always think of that movie, You Can't Handle the Truth.
Oh, just a few good men.
A few good men and women. Yeah.
You know, I really think that with the AI, I mean, I've seen some young ladies there go on their mobile phone and asking ChatGPT some really interesting probing questions. And it's like GPT seems to scour the whole internet interface with whatever content's been placed up there, and it's bringing out some amazing behind the scenes behind the curtains, a bit like Wizard of Oz when Toto finds the bloody bloke behind the bloody curtain, isn't it? Yeah, so
Yes.
so there's some very forward-thinking young, and they have been young girls been asking some really, really out there questions.
Yeah.
I mean, they've really taken the Vatican a bit of a hammering. That's all there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting area. The whole AI area. It's it's gathering information from so many sources, and it's I'm seeing people use it a lot now in many ways, from writing astrology posts to but even using it like their own personal counselor as well, and setting up like their own individual. And this is this sort of Aquarian energy where it's we're moving into a whole new world of where it's that connection with people is are we losing touch with the so much social media and so much of things online and AI, that connection to other humans where you can actually physically touch them is what is happening there with our society. Are we losing touch with each other to some degree with this new whole AI? And my concerns would be is losing a sense of our own connection and our own trusting our own intuition with this technology. I could see that the technology could be used in great ways, but I can also see that it could be used in others too.
Use the force, Luke. Use the force, Luke. Hey,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big topic, isn't it? And but it's certainly I've seen people use it in different ways, and it's a very nebulous type of energy at the moment, I think, with it, of where is information coming from. Some people are saying some of the information, and when they fact check it, is not correct. If somebody's is an expert on something, and then they look at it and go, no, it's not spitting out the exact information. It's mistakes that can be made. If somebody's taking that as truth, well, it's.
I mean, at the end of the day, humanity, our age, has been Dick Tracy and his wristwatch, and then of course Star Trek. Computer. I'm talking to the computer, and so we've had this sort of internal programming that the computer would be running the spaceship or starship, doing diagnostics. And of course, they're going around with their little, what we would consider to be iPads, the tricorder and all that stuff. So,
the
imagery's already been out.
They have, haven't they? Yeah, for a long time. Yeah. Yes. And I can see I see there can be some benefits in that as well.
Well, James Cameron, Terminator movies. But AI.
Perhaps there's some common denominators when it comes to truth. There are some universal truths that each and every one of us are uniquely connected to, I hope. And that, I hope, is the hope for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Pete, is there any other question that we haven't asked you that we should be asking?
That's
a question.
We have gathered information. We've talked about a lot of the astrology. We've talked a little bit about past life regression or quantum healing hypnosis, and briefly on AI. I think the other thing we haven't spoken about, which is quite topical at the moment, is that Atlas, say AI Atlas, 3i Atlas, not AI Atlas.
Yes.
I look at some of the social media. Some of it looks like 3i Atlas or AI Atlas, and it's works. And I know NASA was very silent about things, and there's been a lot of silence about what this comet actually is. From an astrological point of view, I've always seen comets. I remember seeing Halley's Comet as a kid, young child, and remembering that comet, and you could see that very clearly with the naked eye. This comet is not as easy to see with the naked eye, but it's certainly been interesting to watch those that are really following it really closely. Stefan Burns is one of them, and some of the other astrologers who are quite prominent out there, talking about the aspects and lining up the alignments when 3i Atlas is traveling through this our solar system, when it's coming via really close to the planets. And one that really stood out to me was the ceasefire in the Middle East as AI Atlas came through. 3i Atlas came close to Mars, and there was a ceasefire in the Middle East, and Mars is known as the planet of war. It's also came and went behind, had a perihelion with the sun, and we're in a solar maximum. We're in solar maximum 25, which goes every 11, 12 years. When that's come out in the end of October, we've had some massive solar flares, even in the last week or two, couple of weeks. We've got pretty solar storm happening as we speak on this full moon. In 2 weeks' time, on the 19th, we'll have third 3i Atlas coming through close to Earth as well. So it seems to be having, and it's like the astrology is that there's an energetic effect going on. Now, I'm not saying it's the aliens from Planet Memoc or anything like that, but it's certainly having an energetic effect, and we're having an energetic effect on it as well. And there are people who are connecting into it, channeling it. We're looking at the astrology of it as well. We don't know the origin of it exactly. It's very interesting just observing this, but it seems to be really activating a lot of interest with people. It's really activating a lot of interest in the galactic, the cosmos. I think astrology has become so much more popular, even not just recently, but it has over the last few years. It seems like there's a dime a dozen of astrologers that are just everywhere now. There's just so much more interest, and people can see there's more in depth than just the local newspaper with astrology. But this 3i Atlas it comes close, but to Earth on the 19th. But then we've got a couple of days later, we've got the full moon around that time in Sagittarius, or new moon, sorry, because everything's flipped around. We've got a new moon in Sagittarius, and then we've got the winter or our summer eclipse, summer solstice down here, and the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. Yeah. So it's a very significant time, I feel, with this energy. So we'll see how it unfolds. I'll be here in Durban observing, seeing what unfolds with all this, and see how see what happens as the energetic effect of what this comet as a messenger is bringing through, whatever consciousness it's got, whatever it is, bringing information or consciousness or technology or energy. Maybe we're affecting it. Or it's
boy, he wrote the screenplay for Star Trek: The Voyage Home with the probe when it arrived, big, huge cylindrical thing, and then set out a probe, and there was a message to the whales. So, just putting it out there.
Well, that's interesting because I've heard reports that, and I did do some study with dolphins many years ago and swam with them in different parts of the world. And there's been conglomerations of whales and dolphins coming together in hundreds, if not thousands, coming together in certain parts of the globe recently, just gathering in big numbers. So it's interesting you say that about the whales. Maybe there could be a link there. Who knows? What are your thoughts on it?
No, just use my intuition and the question, or just saying the concept of how we're being seated with that particular movie, Voyage Home, with bloody Star Trek. Had to go and save the whales and come back to the 21st century to get 2 bloody whales to repopulate the species. Interesting. I mean, from that moment onwards, it really was quite powerful because whales have been hunted, for their bloody oil, and then all of a sudden big shift in consciousness, to the point that
Yes. Yep.
now everybody goes out on whale trips and see the whales in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
Huge shift, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big turnaround. Yeah.
And more people swimming with the dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's always an amazing experience, swimming with dolphins, and even whales as well. It's just if you can feel their frequency, you can hear their frequency, or I've heard their frequency and feel them in the water. It's just a magical experience.
Very good. Anything else, Paula? Pretty baby?
I can't think of anything else. I
Okay.
love the idea that the truth is out there.
Mm.
And if that's what's being born today, let's all be truth seekers and
Truth
find
seekers.
what that means to each and every one of us. And collectively we'll come up with a far greater truth, I think, than anyone can imagine at the moment.
I like that, Pretty. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Right,
you, really.
Peter, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and your understanding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Pretty, for the invitation. I really appreciate it. And
It's been great listening to you. Fantastic.
Thank you for whoever's tuned in as well. Whoever's taken the time to listen for the last hour and a half. And,
right, so I'm going to
just
turn us off and then go back to the radio program as well. So if you want to just stay on and then have a debrief.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.